Hey everybody, welcome back to our third and final video, hopefully final video. We're going to go ahead and add the meat and potatoes to our application. Right now we just got the shell here of the where you can enter your name, chat room messages, and you can enter some new chat messages. But it doesn't actually do anything yet. So let's go ahead and wire that up. So we're going to go into our chat.js file here because if you remember, we have in our server, our backend, we're listening for a couple of different events. We're listening for new message, we're listening for new member, and then we're emitting those, kind of passing the message along back to whoever is connected via WebSocket. So let's go ahead and wire the functionality. So I'm going to use some Jquery here to make all this magic happen. And just going to start it off like that. So it's kind of shorthand for, I believe, document ready. That way it'll wait for the page to load and then go ahead and fire. So let's go ahead and kick this off. So we'll say let socket equal IO. So now we have that linked up to that. Let's say let name. So this will be the person's name. We'll just set it to an empty string for now. And we'll say let name input equal. And we'll use our Jquery selector here. And in our HTML, you probably don't remember because we went through it pretty fast, but we have an ID called name input. Got that. And let chat input, that's the other input field we have, will be equal to the ID of chat input. Boom. Now we can kind of use this throughout. So now what we want to do is we want to handle a name being entered with the keyboard. So we'll say name input dot key down. It's a jQuery thing. Pass it a function. We'll get the event that'll come with that. And then in there, what we can do is we can say if event dot which equals 13. That's the keyboard code for the enter button. Then we want to event.prevent default. We don't want it to do anything. So we can actually probably move that outside, but I can worry about it for now. And now we want to actually handle that event, right? So they've typed in a name. What do we want to do? So first thing is we want to make sure the name field isn't empty, because we don't want them to submit an empty name, right? So we'll say if name input dot val, so we'll get the value of the name input field. We'll say if it does not equal an empty string, then we want to actually do our logic, right? Otherwise we're going to just ignore it because you got to put something in there. So we'll say name equals name input dot val. So let's get the val from the field and actually save it to our name variable. Now we'll say name input dot val, and we'll pass an empty string. So we'll reset it back to 0. And let's actually go ahead and hide the that field there. So we'll say enter name, just kind of the div wrapper around our input and submit button for that. We'll say .hide. So we just want you to punch your name in once and then be done with it. And then finally, now that we have the name saved, we actually want to emit this to let everybody know you joined the chat room, right? Pretty straightforward. So we'll say socket.emit, say new member, and we're going to pass it the name of the member that just was there. That just was punched in. Perfect. So we got that. So now basically we want to duplicate this, but now we want to enable the submit button. So that was just for the enter button. Now if they actually click it with their mouse, kind of want to do a similar thing here. So what we'll do is we'll say handle name being entered with submit button. And we'll use our Jquery selector here for submit name. Target that class. We'll say on click, we want to trigger this function, pass the event, nothing new. We'll say event.prevent defaults because we don't want that event to bubble up. We're going to handle that. And then we can basically do the same thing as before. So let's just copy this down, save ourselves some time here. Blam. That's pretty easy. Awesome. So now we've handled punching our name in. And let's actually... I'm just going to keep moving along here, and I'll show you how to wire it up here in a second. So now we want to handle if we punch in a new chat message, right? Because we've done handling the name. Now we want to handle if you punch in a chat message. So handle chat message input via keyboard enter button. So for this, we will say chat input dot key down, takes a function, pass it an event, kind of same old, right? And from here, do kind of that same logic. Say if event.which equals 13, then we want to event.prevent default. Don't let it bubble up. We'll handle it. Do the same thing. We will ensure the chat message is not empty. And we'll say if chat input.val does not equal empty string. You know what? We actually want to make sure they enter their name first, right? Before we start publishing these events. So we'll say and name. It's kind of a quick and dirty check. We really should give them like a official alert, but we'll just make sure the name doesn't equal empty for now. You guys can add that functionality in. I believe in you guys. You can do it. So we'll go socket.emit, and we're going to emit new message, which is just arbitrary. We made this up. I just like to namespace it like this and just put the word what type of action I'm taking and then what I'm taking it on. Just my personal preference. You can call it whatever you want. And then what we're going to pass it is an object. And we're going to say name is the name. So that's the variable above. We'll say message equals chat input dot val. So we're getting the value of the chat input. So we pass this object along, and then you'll see how we can use this later to render our data on the screen there. So we'll say chat input dot val. Let's just go ahead and reset that back to an empty string so we can start over typing stuff in again. That's it for that. So we can basically do that same logic again. But this time we want to handle new chat message input via submit button. All right, so kind of the same thing we did before. Submit chat button. So we want to tell if somebody clicks on this, right? Say on click. Want to call a function, pass it the event, and here we will go event.prevent default so it doesn't bubble up. And then we want to ensure the message and name are not empty. So this should be the same logic here. So we'll just copy that, save ourselves some time. Perfect. Which we could probably refactor this code to probably call a function and do some stuff, but just for time's sake here, make things easy. So now we're handling publishing these messages here. So let me go ahead and actually show you. If we go put some logic in here. So on new message, console log new message. say message object. And here we'll say console log new member. Perfect. So now we have these console log statements, so we should be able to see what's going on here. Let me make sure the server's running. npm start. Listening on port 3000. User connected. We just refresh the page. Type Bryce. New member Bryce. Hello world. Oop, that doesn't work. Let's figure out what's wrong. Something's going on here. So new member. If we go to chat.js, the submit button. Take a second to figure out what's going on here. Be right back. All right, I figured it out. Sloppy me. This should be submit chat message. So if we kill that, npm start. Let's refresh this page. Now if we type in our name, Bryce, there it is, new member Bryce. Hello world. Blam. And we can also use the submit button. Test message. We'll click. Clears it out. Perfect. So now we can see it's actually passing the object along, passing the name along, but nothing's showing up into the view right now. So we got to work that out. So not too bad. So this is kind of where Socket.io makes this real easy. So here we can handle incoming new messages. And we'll say socket.on, which I think you remember we had socket set to the library we're importing there. Say socket.on, we'll say new message. So we're going to listen for the server now, emitting the message back out. Say function, say message object. Oop. And there, let's use a Jquery selector, which will be messages. That's our main kind of chat area where all the messages are displayed. We'll say we want to append to that. And we'll say, what do we want to append? We'll say div with a class equal to message new chat message. Perfect. Then we can say .html. So inside of that, we're going to throw down a span because we want to do some boldness here. Make it stand out a little bit. Say class equals, say member name. Just like that. And let's see. And what we want to do there, we'll say plus. It's kind of a long line here. We'll just put it all in one line, make it easy. Object.name plus, we'll concatenate here. Is a big fancy word. Span colon that, and then we'll append the message object dot message that we're actually passing along. So that's pretty easy. So now let's see, what else do we want to do? Oh, let's make the chat window scroll to the bottom so you always see the new messages kind of populating. So I see window dot scroll to, it should be 0, and we'll say document dot body dot scroll height. So pretty straightforward. So on a new message, the object that got passed along, And then we're saying in the messages window, we're going to append to it. We're going to throw in there a div. We're going to set the HTML inside that div to be a span. It's kind of this big collection here. A span of member name. We're going to put the name so that way we can bold this and target this with our CSS. And then over here will be the actual message. So pretty straightforward. Now we're going to handle when there's a new member. Handle incoming new member. Not member name. There we go. So it's kind of the same thing. We'll say socket.on new member. It's a function, gets passed along, the name gets passed to us. Now we can actually do something with that name. It's going to be kind of a similar thing here. So we'll say messages, target that. We'll say let's append to that. I'm going to do a div class. Should be the same thing as up here. And inside that we'll say, we're just going to set the text inside of there to be name. Oop. Append that to, give it a space, has joined the room. And we'll do the same thing as up top where we're just going to scroll. That way it doesn't go scrolling off the page. And perfect. So that should work. We got everything typed right in there. I had a small syntax error there. I forgot to close this closing parenthesis there. So now it should be good. So let me open up another window. Say localhost 3000. Perfect. We'll say we have user connected. Awesome. So if I type Bryce, and you can see populating both rooms. We'll say this guy is Rick. Rick has joined the room. Awesome. Say, hey, Rick. Hey, Bryce. Bam. Hello, world. We should be able to just keep typing messages in here. Just see, it'll just keep going. Oh, so it seems to be overflowing, but I think we can fix that. All right, so I had to reset real quick. I was trying to figure out what was going on. So what I missed was I need to add this overflow Y and set it to scroll. So that'll allow this area to be scrollable. So you can actually see the messages as the chat gets too long. And then also what we need to do is over here on chat.js, over here we need to change this line. So this was wrong. Should have caught that. And we'll change it to that. So we actually want to target the chat window. I'm going to say, we're going to scroll to the top and we're going to say whatever the messages height is, because that message's height is going to dynamically change, right? Perfect. So now what you should see is set up another window, the host 3000. Bryce and say hello. Rick will join. Says, hey, Bryce. And then he just starts saying a bunch of stuff in there. And you can see it starts scrolling down the page. And perfect. So that's exactly what we wanted. So you can see it's rendering on both pages because what's happening is every time in there that we hit the submit button, we're triggering one of these functions here by either hitting the enter key or the submit button, and we're firing off that new message. it goes all the way to the server, who's listening for the new message, which then goes ahead and emits that message back out. And then it gets broadcasted back down to these guys on the page, which are listening for the new message. So it's kind of go up, through the server and back down. But it's all super lightweight because it's using the socket connections, direct connections. So it works out perfect. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the tutorial and learned how to make a simple chat room. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Also, please like and subscribe. Love to get the videos out in front of more people. So take care, guys. Have a good one.